There's another thing I'd like to, that seems to be always said about you, I'd like to hear you talk about, and that is that they always talk about distance, that you keep your characters emotionally distanced, or you keep the audience at a distance and intentionally, not too close, not too emotionally.
I think much less now. I think I'm coming more closer now. Less distance.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And maybe if these pictures were fairly successful, I think it's because of that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, I mean, to look at things, you have to go very far to be, well, to have the possibility of taking a look of it. If you go too close, like in advertising, I mean, you are so close to the products, you don't see anymore. That's why you have to name it, because you don't see nothing. So you just name it. But if you, I mean, sometimes you have to go, even in a love affair, sometimes you have, well, to put some distance to discover the love again. I think in making a movie which has to do with the distance, the way the distance the camera has to be from what you are. Yes. Maybe I was too close in the beginning, then I went too far, and now it's more, there is more justice.
Yeah. Sometimes in the middle of a scene, you will cut completely elsewhere to some other place, but the voice keeps going. There's an example in this film where during an intimate scene, you suddenly cut to the people on the street. But the scene, you keep hearing the scene, but you're seeing something completely different. Shoppers, people passing, and then back.
Yeah, but to me there is no real difference between image and sound. They are just tools, and sometimes, I mean, as I say, even if it looks a paradox, you have to listen to the image and to look at the sound, if I may say so, and well, to use it more like in the music or in the painting. That's funny, because in movies you ask to movies a certain amount of things which you never ask to poetry or to paintings or to music. I wonder why.
I don't know, but it has to do with something that a reaction people have to your films. They'll say, I liked it, but I didn't really enjoy it, or I knew I was seeing something good, but I didn't understand it.
I wish it could be, but I mean, we live in a difficult society. I wish it could be, and I will try harder, because, but it's not so easy. I mean, the audience has to do something to, I mean, very often, just take, I mean, an ordinary people working in, I don't know, in an office, something, he's going, or someone who is selling, let's say, a hamburger. Well, from what you know, we know about hamburger, it's not very good. Well, when he's going to a movie, whether to see a movie of me or one by Steve McQueen, he's asking the best. But he doesn't relate. He's asking to the fact that 8 hours a day is delivering a really awful piece of products. And so why Steve McQueen or me shouldn't do the same? Why not? And the audience should think they have a responsibility in the making of movie, or much more a responsibility in the making of TV, because they are making the TV. I remember a quote from CBS head saying, he was laughing because he said, people think we are producing programs. Well, only in second. First, we are producing viewers.
Producing viewers.
Producing, yeah, téléspectateurs.
Yeah. You were speaking about speed earlier. We have a clip from Every Man for Himself, and it's a controversial point in this present film, because you use slow motion in a way I found unusual.
And I'm glad.
Yeah. Certainly not a cliche. And
I'm glad, because it was very difficult, and I don't think reached really always in sometimes, but sometimes it's very difficult.
Well, here's an example of it. This isn't typical of the movie in the sense that it's not this way all the way through, but here and there this happens. If you roll that, we'll have a look at how would how would it have been any different if you had just decided to have that at the normal speed?
Well, this is precisely the point. I did it when at the normal speed it was not possible to see things, or at least indicate a possibility which is not completely reached here, that there is something different to be seen. For example, they were fighting together, but you had to indicate they were still in love together. And if you slow down, and with an analysis projector or in the editing table, but slowing down not so the machine is stopped and then you forget, to slow it down just to have the time to look, to have a look, to take your time to look at what you are doing. And then you discover that these movements, it can be whether a jab or whether a caress. And then, well, probably I was not capable enough of doing it completely. The shot is too long. Maybe should be a change of angles and different timing. So, but I kept it that way because it was an indication. They want to love each other, but the only way they want to love each other, the only possibility is by is touching themselves through jabs. And well, so you indicate the audience there is a possibility that moves are changed, and you don't. So you use it.
Yeah. Yes, what would have been a very violent motion is sentimental somewhat this way, and more.
If not, mood. If it was, whether it would be too sentimental or whether too violent, and it had to be both together.
It's interesting that you're not entirely happy with the results. That you're not,
on
sure
this one or not. Some other time, yes. On this one, no, no.
Yeah.
But then you have to think it before. It was only because I was working in the movie, and the techniques in movie is very conservative. They don't want to link it with video, or the video people don't want to be linked with movie people. And then I thought of it later and not before the shooting. And that's why it's still awkward, you see. And it looks a bit like still like a gadget. I mean, it's like in a
gimmick.
Yeah, a gimmick, like in a Sylvester Stallone movie or things like that.
Could you clear up something that's a mystery to a lot of Americans? Jerry Lewis, as much as he's admired as a comedian, an awful lot of Americans are in the dark as to why he is so almost sanctified by Europeans, particularly the French, as a filmmaker. Whole issues of Cahiers du Cinema will talk about
he was at a time, not all. Well, but we discovered a great, quite a lot of many people in the motion. We said that Hitchcock was a great movie maker. We said that, for example, I was criticized by the fact that I said that a recent Al Ashby movie was not at all done by Al Ashby, but by the Lorimer Company, or even by the bankers of Lorimer.
Hal Ashby, you said
yes,
the movie was made by bankers rather than...
But those people should understand that it's because of us that they have their name credited above the title. If at a time, which was 25 years ago, for making our own survival and to try to make the movie we wanted to make, we needed the help of some other people. We needed exterior help. We took it where it was possible. We said Hawks is better than this one. Hawks is a great novelist, as good as Faulkner. Howard Hawks. We said Hitchcock is a great novelist, as good as Dostoevsky. But it was a help from us. And then we existed through them too. And we give them back credits because now you can see a Howard Hawks picture. Before us, it was not. It was a Selznick picture or a Zanuck picture.
By us, do you mean when you were a critic, a film critic?
Yeah, but which I still am.
Yeah, sure.
And Jerry Lewis, I think, is one. I've seen his last movie, Hardly Working, which is, I think, not appeared here. And to me, he's a great director. He's more a painter, maybe, than a director. He probably doesn't even know. But he's a great, to me, first, he's a continuator of the Harry Langdon and Buster Keaton and Chaplin tradition. He's working with space. He's not tracking like all those so-called modern movie makers and making fancy with the camera. He's just interested in framing. He's a very good framer, like great painters. He has a lot of sense of geometry. To be a comic, you have to be very capable in geometry. Mm-hmm. And today, I mean, his last picture, Hardly Working, even the title is very honest. Yes, it's difficult to make a good picture.
Yeah.
And he knows. And I think he should be supported, and I'm one of his supporters.
Mm. But most people don't go to movies to see framing and technical ingenuity. They want to laugh or be entertained.
Yeah, but they receive picture through that.
Yeah. Do you also find him funny?
Very, very. If not, no. I think it's very funny. Even when it's not funny, it's more funny, because it's not funny.
Well, I know he thrives on and enjoys the praise that he gets abroad, and it's somewhat mystifying to America, although he's, of course, been a huge success here, to find intellectuals praising him in European
for example, he has a lot of
magazines.
I think he has a great idea for his last movie. He was obliged to try to do it in Sweden. I don't know if he succeeded. It was the day, title is The Day the Clown Cried. And it's a picture about in a Nazi concentration camp. They were using a clown to make the baby laugh when they were going in the gas chamber. I think it's a beautiful idea.
Yes, you're referring to a film that I think it's never been released in this country.
It has not even been produced up to now. He has problem.
Oh, it's not finished?
No, it's not finished.
Uh-huh.
He was obliged to go in exile. I mean, always, it's a good sign when good people go in exile from their country. It means there is something good in them.
It's a good sign, is it?
It's a good sign,
Yeah.